I swear to fucking God. Get a fucking beer. Why is it doing this? I quit. I quit life. I'm quitting YouTube. I don't want you to remember every stupid thing. What's up, old money? Sorry, guys. Just like looking at checking this out real quick, making sure that everything is working properly. I think it is, but it is StreamYard, so this whole thing could go to shit in the next like 2 minutes. I'm eating my sandwich cookies. Oh my god! I got a VCR at Goodweird. Yes, at Goodweird, I got a new VCR, and it's a brand that I like. I would never buy, but it was the only one they had. Like I always look for like Sony or Panasonic, Pioneer, Sharp, like a name brand like VCR. This is the only VCR that they had, and it came with the remote. And it's a Quasar. I don't think I've ever heard of a Quasar, but it works. So for $8, was not going to complain. What are you playing on Xbox? I'm working on Ghost and Goblins on Nintendo, and I'm about ready to rage quit. Oh, no mic, no audio? What are we doing? How's that? I have a one of these guys, these blue snowball guys. I plugged it in. What's up, CL? Surf Blue is here. Oh, money, what's up, man? I was like talking to you, like, yeah, what Xbox games are you playing? I plugged in my mic. Now, this is StreamYard, man. All these systems are different, right? OBS, OBS Studio, OBS Super Duper Studio, right? StreamYard. And so I jumped into the StreamYard, and then I plugged into the mic, and it wasn't showing that the mic was muted, right? It usually turns like the microphone icon red and puts a slash through it to let you know that the mic isn't working. But this sumbitch plugged it in. It looked like it was working. It didn't give me that indicator. Cool. CL says it's good. It's good. Money says, which Xbox 360? And I'm playing Forza Motorsport 3. Forza is cool, man. Cool. My boy Tyler likes his Forza. Yeah, it's good to see you guys too. We haven't done one of these in a while. I'm going to highlight that comment because it has a heart in it. Hooray for hearts. Wood, what's up, buddy? Hope things are going good down in Woodbury. But I was just saying, like, this year I've really, reconnected with the Nintendo, man. We've beaten some really hard Nintendo games that I never thought I'd beat in my life. Battletoads, Kid Icarus, Ninja Gaiden 2, Castlevania 3. I'm working on Ghost and Goblins right now on the Sharp. I can't get past stage 6 on the first loop, and I'm about to break my control. Like I want to like break a controller, but I'm using my dog bone controller, so I'm like, oh no, got to be ginger with it. Like, you know what I mean? Surf says he's playing Far Cry 6. I was about to get off and charge my phone, then go play a game, but like I said, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you jumping in. So yeah, I've been just playing a bunch of Nintendo games this year and mixing in some PS4. I haven't really diversified, my catalog. Yes, my list of games for the year. I think there's a couple Game Boy games in there, and maybe like a Wii U game or something, a Wii and Wii U game. So CL says we'll soon be playing some modern 3D games. All like when they take like Contra and they put it in 3D. Down Phoenix was doing some of that. I don't know, man. I don't know if I like that style or not. But I have my magic book right here where we write down all of the games that we beat for the year. So I thought since we're like halfway through, we're in the middle of the month, I'll just run through the games that I beat in 2022 and ones that we need to talk about. I want to talk about a little bit. We can talk about, and if anybody has anything to add, that would be totally cool too. Because we're all on this journey together of playing these games and going through them. And sometimes it's like it's almost a shared experience, right? So if I'm playing a game and I played through, I don't know, just pick a game, Panzer Dragoon Orta for the Xbox for the first time, and Wood also was playing through that game for the first time, or he has nostalgia for that game or something. Like we could like have a good time and talk about it, right? So the games I beat in 2022, CL says that's a great list. Yeah, he saw it probably on Twitter. I made another list of the Mr. Matthews NES Hard games that he's doing. He compiled a list of what the top 10 hardest Nintendo games are. And I'm trying to beat all the games on that list. Now, some of them I'd already beaten. Some of them I had not. So I took that. I'm trying to take that on this year. Ghost and Goblins is the last one on that list that I actually own. I don't own a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3. So maybe we'll pick that up in the trade show at the end of the summer. And that would be really exciting to knock that game off the list and then do all of the top 10 Mr. Matthews NES hard games. That would be that'd be something. It's like a goal, a gaming goal, But so here we go. We'll go through them. We got 33 games that we have beat this year. The first one is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix on the PS3. What an incredible game. Incredible game. I love that game so much. And now, so what I do is I write the game and then I take notes on it, stuff that I want to talk about in the video at the end of the year. And then I also keep a spreadsheet of games that I've beat by system. So all my Nintendo games, Super Nintendo, N64, so on and so forth, PS1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's how I keep my list, but I keep my notes in here, and then I keep also a Word document where I double these, I make duplicate. But Kingdom Hearts, what an amazing adventure. I did everything in that game except for the gummy ship stuff. I hated that. I thought that was dumb. But everything else was really, really cool. It's like an action RPG, exploring, open world type game. So if you've not played Kingdom Hearts, play the 1.5D remix, the HD remix, which is on PS3 and PS4. I think there's a huge collection on PS4 because you get the extra bosses, the secret bosses that weren't in the PS2 version. Yeah. CL says 100% completion on Kingdom Hearts. Everything except the gummy ship stuff. I didn't even know how to do that. But we did do the Dalmatians, the Winnie the Pooh. We leveled up. We synthesized everything. Got the ultimate blade. Beat all the bosses, all the secret bosses, all the time trials in the Coliseum. So we put a lot of hours into that game and just didn't do the gummy ship stuff. I don't know if that really counts. Maybe it does. And if it does, then I'll have to go in there and do that. But it's a gorgeous game on the PS3. The soundtrack kicks ass. It's fun to play. When you level up, the game sort of becomes a lot easier. Like any action RPG, But in this game, it just seemed like all I wanted to do was grind and get to level 100 because that's the highest you can get to. So I was like, as soon as I get to that, so we did that. When you beat the game, yeah, okay. So this is the emotional aspect of playing games, right? So you play Kingdom Hearts, and there's parts that are frustrating. There are parts that are fun. It makes you laugh. It makes you cry, right? And it's really cool. It's a really cool game. And when you beat the game, you feel like so relieved that it's over, but you also feel sad that it's over. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh man. And then it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger, which I hate, but I'm sure they already knew they were probably going to make a Kingdom Hearts 2 or something. Like, this is weird that they didn't know they were going to make more games and they left the first one on a cliffhanger. So, and I wrote down here, I played on normal. And there were 2 trophies I didn't get. I didn't get the no continues trophy. There's a trophy that you get if you play and you don't use any continues. And then there's one where if you beat it like in like 15 hours or something, like in a real short amount of time. So I didn't get those trophies and anything with the gummy ship because I hated the gummy ship. What's up, Retro Heck? Nothing. Mr. Matthews, we were just talking about you. No, dude, I can't get past stage 6. So this is where we're at with Ghosts and Goblins, right? We're on stage. We're kind of like breezing through this game. And I'm like, this game really isn't that difficult. There's a little trial and error here and there, kind of do this. I get to stage 6. I get, past the unicorn. I get past the dragon. I jump over the torch. I get that big guy, right? Knock him out. I don't understand how sometimes I spawn that skeleton that's above me to start jumping around. Sometimes I don't. It's almost like you're waiting for the right combination of enemy placements. So then you go over, right, and you have to kind of go up the ladder and then come down and spawn that last red devil. I can't really get past, like, I can't get past that on a regular basis. It's very, very difficult. And then the times that I did get past, I am getting past it. I get up to the top of the stairs, and when you turn to the right on the screen, there's a ghost, like a skeleton head, right? And you shoot that. And every time I shoot that and move like 2 feet, a ghost spawns on top of me. Like I can't find a consistent way to get through there. And then I got to the boss. I killed the first devil. And then the second devil was shooting at me. And I would push down to duck. And I went down the ladder and the ball went through the stairs and hit me on the ladder. Yeah. So we'll beat it, and we'll probably beat it by the end of the weekend, which is fine. But I can tell you right now, I do not like this game as much as Battletoads, which I beat last weekend. I don't like it as much as Ninja Gaiden 2, and I don't like it as much as Castlevania 3. So, and it's hard, and I don't mind hard games, right? Like I'm not going to shy away from the challenge, but it's hard in the wrong reasons. Like Battletoads is hard, but the enemies are always in the same place. The levels are always the same, and it's just you having to get good. And the frustrating things are learning an inch, then learning the next inch. And so you're learning it in those small increments. And then on like some of the later levels, enemies that take 2 hits at the beginning of the level, at the end of the level, they take like 5 hits, right? So they change it on you in the middle of the level. So it's one of those things where in this game, and so Battletoads is learnable, right? You can learn where every enemy placement is, how many hits it takes, what weapons you need, inch by inch increments. So that's what's frustrating. It demands that you learn a new play mechanic, a new style every single level. It's brutal with the limited continues. Ghosts and Goblins, you can do everything right. You do everything right in Ghosts and Goblins, and then all of a sudden something just that's never been there before in your 300 other attempts just spawns right on top of you and you're dead. So it's absolute brutality. My general rule of thumb is if it has infinite continues, it's not super difficult. You know what I mean? But this game. So I beat Castlevania 3, and I was like, this is the hardest game I've ever beaten. Then I beat Battletoads, and I was like, this is the hardest game I've ever beaten. And I think you know where we're going with this when we beat Ghosts and Goblins, right? This will be the hardest game that I've ever beaten, even with the unlimited continues. Like everywhere it tries to screw you. Like on this game, why is there a torch when you don't need the torch and you got to jump over it, there's an axe. I just did that before I got on stream. Got all the way up to the top of the tower, right? All the way up to the tower. And then it drops like an axe, right? Well, I didn't jump exactly and I landed on the axe. And I'm like, I'm about to fight the boss with my armor. And I got up here in like a really fast time. And because they dropped an axe right there, which doesn't need to be there, now I have to die, farm for the knife, then do this all over again. Like, it is absolute insanity, especially when we're talking about Nintendo games. Yeah, I mean, Adventure Island is tough. I beat Adventure Island 2 this year for the first time. That game is tough. Yeah, but again, that game is like learnable. You know, I think is my opinion. About Trey 50 is in the stream. What is up, buddy? Do you think what do I think of Elden Ring? I typically don't play those type of games. Those Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring type of games, just because I don't like that type of punishment. But here I am going on and on about wanting to beat Ghosts and Goblins and Mr. Matthews' top 10 NES hard games. So yeah, I don't know. They just never, those types of games just never really appealed to me. I mean, people like them, obviously, right? They keep making them. Yeah, Rayman on PS1 is definitely a hard game, from what I've been told. But all right, so Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD remix. I strongly recommend that. Get that on the PS3 or the PS4. What a beautiful game. The second game that I beat this year was Castlevania Adventure on the Game Boy. It was a childhood game of mine, and I could never really get anywhere. Like, I maybe got past the first boss once or twice as a kid. It's 4 stages, unlimited continues. It's a weird Castlevania game because there are no sub-weapons, which is sort of a staple. It's a standard in the series, right? Like, you got your boomerangs and your holy water and your axes, which, by the way, Ghost Goblins is missing. That I don't care which weapon you have. They all suck, right? You have to have one because you have to have one. There's no weapon that you can, like, throw up or, you know, it's like a wave beam type thing, right? Like, all these weapons are garbage. Anyway, so yeah, Castlevania Adventure on the Game Boy. Very, very happy to have knocked that one off the list. As I do love the original Game Boy, but really only the games that I had when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Number 3, Kirby 2 on the Game Boy. What a very, very cool game. Yeah, Castlevania Adventure's got some cool music. Kirby 2 on the Game Boy, a cool game. It's in that, what they call them, the Dark Shards trilogy or quadruplet, where, you know, there's this dark shards that you collect. We did 100% that game. It wasn't very difficult. 7 levels. Let's see, rain. What did I write here? Oh yeah, it's a pain in the ass to get the last 3 or 4 of the, whatever they are, the shards or crystals that you need. The first 2 are pretty easy. They're very kind of specific. Yeah, you got little companion buddies that you can use. So, yeah. But the thing is, like, Kirby 2 isn't like a short version of Kirby, right? Like, they give you 7 levels, and each level has a hidden crystal shard somewhere in like the 5-6 stages in the level. So, yeah, I mean, Kirby 2 is a really cool game. Now, number 4 will be a CM Retro trivia question in the future. Number 4 for the year was Journey to Silius on the Nintendo. I keep a log of all the games that I've beat per system, and Journey to Silius is number 50. The 50th NES game that I was able to beat in my entire life was Journey to Silius. I gave it an A-, man. It is a beautiful game. And, you know, it's got that history where it's a Sunsoft. It was abandoned, and it was a Terminator game originally. And I got to be honest, man, you guys know I love Mega Man. I think Castlevania probably has the best music in a video game franchise. But from start screen to end credits, Journey to Silius is absolutely incredible. Sometimes I'll just pop on YouTube and I'll check out the soundtrack. It's crazy town. And yeah, it does play a little bit like Mega Man, where you do get a weapon and then you kind of use that weapon on the boss. But yeah, very, very cool. I actually wrote down, it kind of reminded me more of Batman on the Game Boy than it did Mega Man, because that's sort of the comparison. that it gets to. Yeah, CL Rainbow Drops. Thank you. It's light on health packs. Yeah, it doesn't really give you a lot of health refills, so you got to kind of be stingy. And then all your weapons share the same energy tank. So imagine like in Mega Man, you've got one energy bar and you got to float through the way and keep it refilled. And in some points, it's not. It seems like it's more difficult, but if you only have one energy bar to worry about for weapon energy, then that kind of makes it a little bit easier. All right. So number 5. Number 5 was another game that I had when I was a kid. So I'm very, very happy to knock it off of the backlog. It is G.I. Joe Real American Hero on the Nintendo. Action platformer, super awesome game, man. When I was a kid, I didn't realize how in-depth this game was. Like, you can level up your Joes and stuff like that. Of course, as a kid, you're just running and gunning and trying to beat stuff. The bosses are all, like, oversized, and you have to kind of take them out by, like, jumping over their projectiles and then shooting. You got to kind of remember those types of patterns. But G.I. Joe Real American Hero, very, very cool. And you get a team leader and 2 Joes of your choice to start the mission. And like I said, you can level them up and things like that, make them more powerful. And yeah, the only pain in the butt was the maze. There's like 3 or 4 of these maze sections where you have to go around, find these big check marks on the wall, and you'll put a detonator there. And as soon as all the detonators then you are set, then you go to the final boss. The later one has like 8, and it's timed, and it's like you just got to know where they are, and it's just trial and error. And when it's that late in the game, and they're making you do stuff like that, like they're giving you just enough time, like it's like, come on, man, that's just, to me, that's not good game design, because we've already made it so far. Like we got the idea, we got the gist of it. You should kind of just give me a nice path to the final boss. So, yeah, very cool. So I wrote you can upgrade their health bar and their weapon power. Yeah. And then there's actually a second mission after you beat the game. You can play it again. It's almost like the New Game Plus in the hard mode. And you get 1 team leader and then 1 Joe. So you're down 1 character. Number 6, this game took me about an hour to beat. Jaws on the Nintendo. Another sort of sub-gaming goal of mine is to beat the LJN games, because they get a bad rap. And there's some quality games in there. Nightmare on Elm Street's not a bad game. Karate Kid, Back to the Future. They're not the greatest games, but they're playable, they're serviceable. And Jaws is sort of that category, right? It's not that difficult, but really there's not a lot to it. You go from port A to port B, you collect shells, you level up, and by the time you get to like level 4 or 5, you should be able to take on Jaws. You wear them down, then it goes to that scene that everybody's seen where you have the boat and you kind of spear Jaws, and then game over. Again, short game, so if you haven't played it and you're looking for a game to cross off your list, definitely play Jaws. Yeah, I kind of like that game too. It's like super chill. It's not crazy difficult. It's not a lot there, you know what I mean? And yes, G.I. Joe was a cool game. Yeah, there were vehicles that you try and find in the levels that you can kind of crawl around in. One of them's like a hopper thingy. I never liked them really, but I mean, one of the circle things that kind of climbs up the walls. I think you needed that to get up there. All right, so number 2, here we go. A game you guys number 7, sorry. A game you guys may have heard of, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo. Again, a childhood game, and I love it. You get to switch between the turtles, challenging, and it looks and sounds and plays great. Like, I have no complaints about Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo, other than if it's made for kids, it's a little too difficult for kids. Like adults, the hardest part for adults who play a lot of games is going to be those jumps, right? Like when I was a kid. What's up, Rabbit Dude? Nick, what's up, man? Thanks, bro. Yeah, Nick's been doing like shout out videos on his channel, which is cool, man. Just like one video, one shout out. But back to TMNT. When I was a kid, I could always get past the dam level, go to the turtle van, and then maybe like once or twice when I was a kid, I was able to get past that 3rd level and go to the 4th level, which is the airfield, I believe. But yeah, so that part wasn't a problem. It was just sort of wrapping it up for me, just beating the the dark level, and then the airfield, and then the Technodrome. So, but it's those jumps, right? Those really tight jumps where you got to kind of just barely touch the jump button to get it to float over, right? And then there's always an enemy there, so you got to float over. You got to perform this very technical sort of jump and then be ready to get hit in the face, right? But Ninja Turtles on the original Nintendo, what are you gonna do? I couldn't live without that game in my life. Number 8 is Stinger. Now, Stinger is a shooter, and you guys know I love my shooters. It's another game that is cheap. For some reason, I've noticed that NES shooters have gone up. Like Image Fight last year was like a $10 or $15 game. Now people are asking like $30, $35 for that game. I think it's absolutely crazy. So if you get your hands on a Stinger, make sure you do. It's Twin B. Smash JT, what is up? But Stinger is a Twin B 2. It's an action shooter. It's colorful, fun to play. It's not very long, but it is one of those, like, in the pantheon of shooters, right? You got your arcade shooters, you got your bullet hell shooters. This is sort of, and this is like a cute 'em up, but it's one of those divided attention shooters where you have to keep shooting the bell to change colors, and that determines your power up. All the while, enemies are coming at you, and there's ground enemies that are shooting up, right? So it's very much a divided attention type shooter, but it is really, really good, and I highly recommend it, especially on the NES. Like I said, these shooter games on the NES, it's such a small category of games, or small number of games, I should say, and they're all pretty cheap with the exception of like Gunnak. But for some reason, these games are going up a lot in price. Like I said, Image Fight was like $10, $15 last year, and now it's like $30. So crazy. So if you're interested in these shooter games on the NES, make sure that you get them now. Rabbit Dude says this is different. You usually play games while you stream. Yeah, sometimes we do these live hangouts and just kick it. Smash, are you still at the beach house, bro? Number 10 for the year, man. Adventure Island 2. It's the first Adventure Island game that I've ever beat in my life. I used to rent this game as a kid. I could get 3 or 4 levels into it. Now it's like each level has like a couple stages in it. I think there's like 8 or 9 total worlds, I guess is probably a more common term. But Adventure Island, man, I love it. It's so difficult. You have to have like the right weapons. But again, it is learnable, and there's nothing I can remember is random in that game. Not like Ghosts and Goblins, So those games where there's nothing that is random and you're learning in increments. I mean, you just have to learn it. You just got to get good. You know what I'm saying? It is what's up. So Adventure Island 2, yeah. Man, I love that game. And I think I got that for like $20 at Hobbies Galore. So I got a hell of a deal on that. A game that I popped in that I was looking forward to was Jedi Fallen Order. I got this game from my main man, Brett Hamilton, in a lot. And it's one of those games out of that lot that I wanted to keep. And I definitely wanted to play it. What was weird is I just finished playing this. And then Bomberknee TV started live streaming it, which was cool because I could watch and I could and he would get frustrated at a part and be like, dude, I knew exactly what you're going through because I had that same problem. But it looks beautiful, it plays beautiful. It's a late release PS4 game. Apparently it's canon. So if you like Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order is canon. So that is part of the official story. Now you only get 3 force powers, which I'm okay with because it fits with the story. Cal was a Padawan and didn't really have a lot of Jedi training and experience. So it would make sense that he would have basic force powers. The only thing I didn't like is the map system in this game. I hated it because it's like multi-tier levels and each is like transparent. There's no like waypoints or anything that you can, put down to kind of mark your path back to where you need to go. You just got to remember all these maps. There's like 5 or 6 planets, but when you start talking about levels and when you're looking at the map and they're all transparent, you can't really see through to where the elevators and the paths are. It's a pain in the butt. Mike Matei has beaten Adventure Island. He says it was the hardest game for him. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, Adventure Island is very, very difficult. Number 12 for the year was Sonic Mania, the first Sonic game that I've ever beaten on PS4. Again, another game that I got from Brett Hamilton. It's bright, colorful, fun to play, but Sonic games for me are too bing, bang, boo, bop, right? You spent all this time making this beautiful level with these beautiful backgrounds and these things scrolling, and you just fly past them and you can't even stop to look. If they got rid of the timer, this wouldn't be a problem, but everything is on a timer, so you've got to speed through the game, right? You can't stop and look. So, like I said, I like the speed, but often I hated the physics of Sonic games. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Sonic Mania, it was a good game. I really liked it. I ended up giving it a B, which I think is a fair grade for Sonic Mania. All right, number 13 here. It gets the A+ SSS special ranking, Untitled Goose Game. Played it on PS4 with my daughter, who was very excited when we went into GameStop and it was on the shelf. She totally bought it. And we sat up here and we played. It only took like 3 hours, but man, this game's got a lot of charm. It's not very difficult. It's kind of a puzzle game, but it just has a lot of charm and a lot of character. And it's really, really fun to play. So Untitled Goose Game, yeah, I just wrote down here, had a blast. Number 14, Mega Man 11 on PS4. You guys know I'm a Mega Man guy. I love Mega Man. Mega Man. It's my favorite franchise of all time, for sure. Yeah, I really liked the game. I thought it was a great sort of reintroduction back into that classic Mega Man series. We had the 3 editions. We had the R stick, which switches powers. The 2 gear system. You could take it or leave it. I didn't really care for it. You can overheat. And Rush, your Rush power-ups are mapped to the triangle and the circle button, which is quite convenient. It saves you a lot of time from running in and out of menus. And there's 4 different difficulties, and you can unlock extra modes, stuff like that. It's fun, colorful. It's typical Mega Man story and sort of platforming. Like if you've played a Mega Man game, it's perfect. Another thing that I didn't really ding it for, but it is sort of concerning, and not really concerned, but when you get to the Wily stage, there's like 4 levels. One of them is the Wily boss fight. One of them is the boss rush, and then it's like 2 other ones. I think there was like a Yellow Devil or something. So there's really like one original, stage in the Wily stages. I wish they could have extended that a little bit more. Number 15, Stubbs of the Zombie on PS4. Now, I'd played that game years ago on the Xbox, the PS4 version. Avoid it like the plague because it crashes. I live streamed it. It crashed 4 times during my live stream. I thought there was something wrong. I did some online research, and yes, that game crashes. So get it on the Xbone or the Nintendo Switch. Hopefully they'll patch this game one day, and I want. But $20 brand new. It's a GameStop exclusive. What are you gonna do? It's not really a remake or a remaster. It's just sort of a port, of the Xbox or the PC version. What's up, Savage Beast? Number 16. Jesus Christ. Earth Defense Force. Not the cool 1991 shooter on the Super Nintendo, Earth Defense Force. Earth Defense Force on the PS4, which is awesome because it plays like a Starship Troopers where there's huge bugs and you blow them up with like missiles and guns and stuff. But this game goes on forever. There are 89 single-player missions in order to beat this game. It's an action shooter. It looks average, and the sound's average, the graphics are average because everything's moving so fast, right? Like you can't do that. Yes, Mr. Matthews, EDF, right? So you take your tactical team, you go out, you solve whatever problem it is. What's up, William? Thanks for stopping by, bro. And you take out all the bugs or complete whatever the mission is. But 89 single-player missions, and like I always played with the regular trooper, but you can like level up like the heavy gunner and the wing divers, all these different classes of characters. But unfortunately, if I'm a ranger and I'm level 50 and I want to switch to a wing diver, that wing diver is like level 1. So you have to go all the way back and level up, and it just took so long. Yeah, 89 single-player missions is brutal. So that one, I wouldn't recommend buying that one if you're like a casual, if you're looking for something casual to play on a Saturday, because you're not going to beat it. It takes forever, especially when you have to level up. Number 17, quite the surprise, was Yukis Island Express, which I 100%ed. That's on PS4. No one's ever really heard of Yukis Yukis Island Express, but it's a pinball game with Metroid elements. So think of a wide open pinball table, and you get over to this area over here, and you collected enough fruits, you unlocked another flipper. Now you can go to this part of the level, get an item, backtrack all the way over here, and you can use that to bounce over something or whatever. It is a very easy game. It's a very casual kind of fun game. You could beat that game in like a day, right? There's a couple different endings. If you get 100%, you get the best ending, which I did. But yeah, it's very unique. And if you like, no, Rabbit Dude, this is the games I beat this year. I'm good, William. Thanks. But if you like casual sort of pinball, you can't really die in the game. That's the thing. And with the Metroid elements, definitely do that. Get that game. Streets of Rage is number 18 on the Sonic Genesis collection on the PS4. Now, I don't know how that plays compared to the original, but Streets of Rage made me want to rage. And I'm hoping I'll give the series probably one more try. I'll probably try Streets of Rage 2 or 3. But I wasn't impressed. I was not impressed with Streets of Rage. I know some of you guys are Streets of Rage guys. You guys play a lot of these beat-em-up games. Streets of Rage is like one of those cornerstone franchises. But for me, Streets of Rage, it just didn't do it. And I don't really play a lot of beat-em-ups. I don't like a lot of beat-em-ups because of, you try to punch somebody and then you got 5 enemies behind you punching you in the back of the head, So, yeah. Let's see. What else? Yeah, the average, like the normal mode, is very difficult. It was difficult for me. There's only like 5 or 6 different enemy types. And for games like this, like the Sonic Genesis collection and Television Lives collection, Atari, whatever it is, you need to give me like a virtual manual that goes along with that, so I know how to do these combos or combo breakers, so I kind of know how to play the game. Like if it was just punch kick, I wouldn't need the manual. But some of these games are so in depth with button inputs and combos that you need a frame of reference to tell you. I tried looking it up in the options menu, and it wasn't there. So, yeah, I was very frustrated. And then I got to I get to the end boss, and it asked me like, do I want to join his team or whatever? And I'm like, I'm hitting the A button or the X button to just like try and skip through it. Like, let's skip through the dialogue. Well, it gives you a choice, yes or no, join his team. And apparently I hit the button too fast and I clicked yes. Well, it took me like back 2 levels. Like, why is this even in the game? I just reset the game and started over. That way I could have all my lives and continues and stuff like that, right? Like all my specials. Yeah. And then you're inside the building and you can't use the special. Wait, my imaginary Lamborghini police car can't come and shoot a missile in the, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Yeah, I mean, I gave it the lowest grade I've ever given a game, which is C, just a C. Ghosts and Goblins might get a D+. Actually, I've given a couple C minuses. Yeah, but Streets of Rage, not a fan. At least after the first game. I don't know. Maybe the second game, third, maybe they changed it a little bit. But anyway, number 19. William says he likes Streets of Rage. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people that like beat 'em ups and like that series. Mr. Matthews, not being impressed by Streets of Rage is punishable by Twitter. Cancel it. Well, if I get kicked off of Twitter, wouldn't be the end of the world. Number 19, put this game in on a whim. What's up, Lit? Until Dawn on the PS4. This game's been out for a while. It's not like a new game. I typically don't play horror games, but we live streamed this. My first time playing this, we live streamed it. So if you want to check out that live stream, it's down there somewhere. Down where? Down there. And yeah, so listen, I had a really good time with Until Dawn. The thing is, I'm not going to go back and play this game, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 times just to get every ending. You know what I mean? Like, we made it through. We got to see the story, make some decisions, right? Very, very cool. It's a little campy and a little fun. Maybe we'll stream that again. That's a perfect game to like stream because it's like 7 hours, right? We can start that Saturday afternoon and end Sunday night or something. So yeah, Until Dawn. And that game is cheap. That game is like a $10 game. You know what I mean? When you go to like GameStop or your local game store, probably cheaper at Pawn Shop. What's up, Lars? Are you getting Capcom Fighting Collection on the Switch? No, I am not. My sons have Switches. I actually don't own a Switch. And those aren't really the types of games. I wouldn't play it enough. Those aren't the games they play. Okay, number 20 is Star Fox Zero on the Wii U. I love Star Fox. Star Fox is one of my favorite franchises of all time. When I was, and I tell this story all the time. When I was in high school, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, bought me a Nintendo 64 for Christmas with Star Fox in the big box, and I wish I still had that big box. You know what I mean? I got a console in the box, the same one she bought, not the exact same one, but the same, with the atomic purple controller. And yeah, so I love Star Fox, man. It's one of my favorite games from the N64. Depending on what day you ask me, it's probably my favorite game on the Nintendo 64, next to Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64. Although Mystical Ninja is not bad. But Star Fox Zero, it takes a little time to get used to the controls because it wants to use the Wii U gamepad. So like the Wii U gamepad is like first person in the cockpit mode, while the screen is still in third person mode. So as you're turning your ship, but you're moving the pad this way and flying that way. And so it takes a little bit of getting used to. It wasn't terrible. And you can overcome it. You're probably going to die a couple times in that game because of those controls. But yeah, there's some hard bosses. Nice selection of vehicles. I don't really care about like the Landmaster and the submarine thing. I'd rather just fly the entire time. But I don't think they really overdid it with the extra vehicles. What else did I write? Yeah, the bosses were pretty hard. That final boss where you got to like, the pillar is turning this way and you got to fly in and then shoot Andross and then fly out while he's doing his lightning attack. It was pretty difficult. It's actually a difficult boss fight. Mr. Matthew says, I really, really wanted to get into Star Fox Zero, but I got kind of bored during the second level. Yeah, you just got to kind of push through, like as a fan of the N64 game, I want to see like Corneria reimagined, the asteroid field reimagined, these epic battles with Star Wolf reimagined and updated and all that stuff. So I was kind of always looking forward to what I was kind of going to see next, going to come across next. But yeah, I totally get it. Like, what's cool about video games, man, and I think it's interesting that we all like different things, but we also like some of the similar things, and that's sort of what connects us. And if it wasn't for Mr. Matthews and I, who like Mega Man, and I caught his NES Hard, and he mentioned this game in his NES Hard video, I would have never bought it and played it. It is Abadox, right? So that's why it's so important to connect, right? I always say relationships are important. And on YouTube, I wouldn't have come across Mr. Matthews' channel. I probably wouldn't have cared about this game. Says I should print out Star Fox Assault, Star Fox Adventure, Oh yeah. Well, I only got a little bit into Adventure. Star Fox Assault is actually really cool. But yeah, Abadox, it's frustrating but fair. You do get unlimited continues. It ramps up the difficulty very, very quickly. And just like these old shooters, don't die because you need those power-ups, right? There's a challenge to it. And there's spots where the ship's kind of big, and it just barely fits. Like it's almost impossible, but it fits in this really small space. You got to like micro maneuver the ship through these levels if you're not powered up. You got to know where enemies are going to spawn, stuff like that. It does this cool thing where it's like a Life Force, right? Life Force, you get side scrolling and top-down levels, but those top-down levels are scrolling from the bottom up, right? Sort of standard stuff. Well, in Abadox, there's something that you don't really see a lot, and that is you at the top of the screen, and you are flying down. And it makes sense because this parasite is taking over this planet, and you're flying into the parasite, and you're flying down into, its body. So it makes sense. It makes total kayfabe sense. But then it does the thing that I hate the most in shooters. You beat the end boss, and then you got to run like this gauntlet race of closing gates, and you get unlimited continues. So it's not like you're not going to beat it. It's just a matter of time. Like they could have just cut that out. That final chase sequence where you've got to go through the gates real fast, like Volcaire's Inferno and Battletoads. But yeah, Abadox, again, another very, very cheap Nintendo shooter. 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks max. But so if you like these types of games or you're looking for something cool to play or have in your collection, get these games now because they are getting very, very expensive for whatever reason. It's made by Milton Bradley. So when you look at the cover, you're like, this is the shittiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's actually Abadox is a very, very cool game. What else do we write? Limited power-ups, and there are mid-level checkpoints. So yeah. Iz says, did an Xbox 360 collection with cover art on the same day. I did my Sonic game collection of cover arts. Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, it's Sonic had a birthday. Boom. There you go. Happy birthday, Sonic. Sonic. Okay. Abadox. Turn the page. So every year I like to play a couple fighting games because I'm a big fighting game fan. I just don't have the time to put into, yes, it is made by Natsume and published by Milton Bradley. But when you see the cartridge, you're like, a Milton Bradley game? Like, this is dumb. You know what I mean? You don't really, it's almost like the LJN games, right? Like Rare did Nightmare on Elm Street, and another game I'm going to talk about. Soul Calibur 3, I like the Soul Calibur series. Just one of those series that I like. It's a great arcade fighting game. Yeah, it's the same stuff, right? Beat it with this character. You unlock some stuff. Play it through with another character. You unlock some other stuff and different modes. Lots of fun to play. It's a button masher that requires a little bit of skill. So I'm not going to really talk about that. I mean, it's a standard arcade fighting game. 23 is I got this game for free at GameStop. It is G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. Now, I was talking to Albert Menendez about this game. And this game is, it's very repetitive. I got it for free. I used my $5 monthly reward and got this game for free. It's a very repetitive, like third-person action shooter type game, which is fine, right? Like, that's what they are. There's 17 missions, and 3 of them are vehicle levels. All 3 of the vehicle levels are like tank levels. And it's like, you have an entire toy box of G.I. Joes and G.I. Joe toys and accessories and vehicles. Like, we could have had a flying level and a boat level and a tank level and another vehicle type level. But they chose to go with 3 vehicle levels, all tanks. It's crazy. And I think it's because Operation Blackout is supposed to coincide with the new G.I. Joe classified figures from a couple years ago. So you don't really get to play as a lot of different Joes because a lot of Joes that we had when we were kids haven't been released in this classified series yet because they're not in the action figure series. They're not in the game, which is a bummer because you do get like cameos during the cutscenes of the other Joes like Shipwreck, Gung Ho, the twins, you know what I mean? Like, but you can't play them as characters, which is crazy. It's a cool nostalgia pop. There's Easter eggs all over the place. Listen, it's a $5 game. I'd have been pissed if I paid full price for this. It's on the the Xbox One and the Switch. I recommend it if you can get it for like $5 or less, because there's not really a lot to it. You do have superpowers in that game, like special moves. I completely forgot that I had them because you can just beat the game on normal mode with grenades and your weapons and your melee attacks. So I couldn't tell you what a special move in that game looks like because I didn't do one. Number 24 is Tekken 5. So Tekken 5, it's an arcade fighter, fun to play, just like any other standard arcade style fighting game. Except this game is absolutely ridiculous because it came with. Is this the one that came with? So Tekken 5 may have come with 2 discs, or Soul Calibur. One of these games came with 2 discs, and you could unlock all this extra stuff for like Tekken Tag or Xenogears. It was like it came with a cheat disc or a code disc, and you just downloaded it right to your memory card for all this like other stuff. It was a demo disc of some type. So Tekken 5, enjoy to play, standard arcade, You can unlock Tekken, The Devil Within, which is like a 3D action game. Tekken 1, 2, and 3, the PS1 versions. So again, they really jammed in a lot of content into that game. So yeah, very cool. I can't remember which one it was. If it was Soul Calibur. Yeah, I think it was Tekken 5. Tekken 5 had that bonus stuff with it, which is really awesome. It says he doesn't have time to stream fighting games because I don't have a Mac laptop or it would be a studio. Yes. So number 25 for the year was Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Nintendo. I didn't think Ninja Gaiden 2 was as hard as the first Ninja Gaiden game, and I actually didn't like it as much. I like that the new power-ups, like you could keep the spinning flame wheel that protects you the shield, but I didn't like the gimmicks. Like every level seemed to have a gimmick, and I got tired of it. That's bad level design. If you got to rely on wind, light, waterfall, ice, it really almost stopped me from playing the game because I thought they got so lazy that the only way they could add difficulty to this was not by enemy placements or platformings or skill or something, but by adding in these stupid gimmick elements. I did not like Ninja Gaiden 2 as much as I like Ninja Gaiden. I probably won't even go back and ever play this game again because I didn't like it that much. Now, you do get unlimited continues, so you will be able to beat the game. You know, you can do it on your first try like Ghosts and Goblins, right? You just got to put in the time, power through it. So after I beat it the first time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try and play again. I'm trying to do a better run, less than 3 continues, that kind of thing. But I got to the last level, and again, Ninja Gaiden is one of those things where it's like, once you know how to do it, like it's it's easy. Except for there are always a couple parts that kind of get hung up, whether it's a bad enemy spawn or something. Even the bosses are pretty easy. So I got to, I think, the final level with not using a continue, and then I had to use like 3, 4, maybe 5 more continues because there's a part in there. It's kind of tricky, especially like the final boss. Like you got to kind of know. Mr. Matthew says, right on, you beat it. I literally the opposite take on Ninja Gaiden 2. I thought it was harder, but I actually liked it more in the first game, and I loved the first game. Yeah, that's crazy because, I don't know if you watched Gameplay and Talk. Austin was doing a playthrough of all 3 Ninja Gaidens, and we got the Ninja Gaiden 2, and I made that comment. I said I didn't like it as much as the first one. I didn't like the gimmicks. I thought it was terrible when compared to the first one. Now, graphically, it is superior. But then Austin was like, yeah, I grew up with Ninja Gaiden 2. I love Ninja Gaiden 2. It's probably one of my favorite Nintendo games. I like it the best. And I think it's one of those games where it's like if you grew up with it versus the first one or the first one versus the second one, then you're going to have that opinion. And I totally get it. That's fair, right? There's nothing wrong with the game. Like, it's a great game. I want to make it clear that Ninja Gaiden 2 is a fantastic game. And I'm dying to get my hands on a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3 so I can play that. You like Ninja Gaiden 3 more than 2. Yeah, I don't own a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3, so hopefully we will get one at the trade show or something. I've got like a Neo Geo Pocket Color I could trade. I got Genesis games, Saturn games. So I've got some stuff I could trade for a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3 if somebody had one that they wanted to get rid of. Number 26, Kid Icarus. Now, I got this game from Uncle Strange, one of my favorite people in the whole world. He lives in Canada. He was on YouTube. I actually went over to Twitch and was doing the Twitch thing. I'm not sure if he's doing it anymore because I don't really do Twitch. But Kid Icarus, man. What an incredible game. The trick is on stage 1, 2, you got to just level up, and it's done by points. So it's like one of these first attempts at action RPGs. It doesn't really tell you a lot. Doesn't really tell you anything. So level up, just grind and get 50,000 points. Finish the level, and it'll give you 2 extra life bars. So that'll definitely help you out along the way. That's how I had to do it. But the game, yeah, the game makes no effort, all capital, to show or teach you how to level up. It's addicting and fun, but hard as hell until you start leveling up, and then the game kind of becomes easy. Mr. Matthews says that Ninja Gaiden is probably his favorite Nintendo trilogy. we were going to talk about that after we ran through these games. So I will put you down for Ninja Gaiden. I didn't think it was going to go that way. I thought you were going to say, even though it's not really a trilogy, but Mega Man 2, 3, and 4. That's the route I thought you were going to go. All right, number 27 is Felix the Cat on Nintendo. I was on one of Mike Matei's list. I had it, so I was like, I'm going to play this. You're going to beat that game the first or second time you play it. It's not very difficult. It is a cute platformer, very easy. You will beat it on the first or second try. I literally wrote that in the notes. Similar to Tiny Toons with look, gameplay, and sound. It's got an interesting power-up system where your power-up system is on a meter, and if you're not collecting the milk jugs, then if that meter runs out, you drop down a power level, and then you drop down a power level all the way until you're back to your regular thing. But again, nothing very special. It's fun to play. It's fun to beat, and it's a cool game. I don't really have anything to say about it in a derogatory sense. Okay. Number 28 was probably the game that I was anticipating most playing. After playing the first God of War last year on PS1 or PS2, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I've been missing out my entire life because I've had these games for like a decade, right? I've never even played them. And God of War, the first one was just such a magical game. It was, oh my God, it was such an adventure. Everything just looks and plays and sounds right. Like it was like a perfect game. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. So I played God of War 2 and I was like really into it. I was like so excited to put this in and play this game. And let's see, I wrote incredible, great graphics, combat. The story was awesome. The soundtrack was awesome. It got a little tough down the stretch of the game, like the last part of the game. But again, it's the last part of the game. What do you kind of expect? And the game really sort of like sucks you in. Like I think I played this over a 2-day period. I just sat down like on a Thursday night, played till like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or Friday, got some sleep, and then finished it, that next night. But the thing with God of War that is so, it gets you every time, is the atmosphere, right? Like you feel like your body changes, your body chemistry changes. You feel like a Spartan warrior, right? Like you just want to smash and crash and bash stuff. What a video, But Mr. Matthews says that last gauntlet was tough. Yeah, it is pretty tough down the stretch, especially the fight with Zeus. That can be, Number 29 is Roller Games on the NES. It's a game I rented. I used to love watching roller games on TV. I think on my Facebook I posted the first episode of Roller Games where Lita Ford did like the halftime show. It was just an incredible time in TV and gaming, the late 80s, early 90s. And then Roller Games, right? So Roller Games think of it as a platform game that because you're on roller skates, it's got like an ice level feel to it the entire time. There's momentum-based physics, tough jumps, 3 different characters with 3 different endings. So depending on which character you beat the game with, it determines the ending. Like one person wants to give the money that they're going to win to charity, and the other person wants to buy a house or whatever. I don't know, but they all have their own little story. Infinite continues. It is tough. It's a tough game, but it's balanced. You got some super moves in there. Like I said, I used to rent it as a game or rent it as a kid. I was pretty generous with the checkpoints, and you have to memorize every level. There's just no way. There's no way to get around it. Okay, so number 30. Number 30. Where are we at here? Number 30. Okay, so we're getting close. Number 30 was Wheel of Fortune on the Wii. Now you're gonna say, Chris, that is stupid. That shouldn't count. But I played it with my daughter, and we played through it a bunch of times. We got to the final showcase or whatever, and we won. But Wheel of Fortune is actually really, really fun. There's some collectibles in there, like gifts that you can collect. It'll say like, Dad has earned over $100,000 playing Wheel of Fortune, right? Like it's got little tags and stuff. Little section, those specialty sections of the wheel, those pie pieces. You sort of get those and can collect those. You can unlock like the Las Vegas set, the Hollywood set. So there is some good qualities about Wheel of Fortune, but these games you're going to want to play with like kids or have them around for like party games. But it was really good. I really liked Wheel of Fortune on the Wii. Because of this game, I was thinking about doing a Wii Hidden Gems video because I really liked it. I think it's a good game. Anyway, number 31, Street Fighter 2010 on Nintendo. Now, as a kid, in full disclosure, I was able to beat this game with Game Genie. I think I used like infinite life or infinite power up or something. So I didn't add it originally to my spreadsheet of games that I beat. So I was like, man, I'm going to play through this. I saw Stampede Gaming, Joe over at Stampede Gaming. He had played through it, and I was like, man, I just got to play through it. So I put in an afternoon, and I played through it. And that's all it really took. You do get infinite continues in that game as well. It's very difficult. You do get power-ups and some special abilities like a flash kick and like an orb. I got the orb, and then I died. So you lose all your power-ups when you die. And the AVGN makes that last section sound like you got to be pixel perfect, on point, or you're not going to beat the game. And that's not true. That's not true at all. You have to be quick. You have to know what you're doing, but you don't have to. I mean, I don't know what to say. You're not under the gun as much as he made you believe that you were under the gun. So Street Fighter 2010, great graphics, Capcom game. I didn't really care about the story. I just like the gameplay. Retro Tiburon, what's up, Mario? We'll save this for later. Not as hard as some online reviewers make it out. Okay, we covered that. So number 32 for the year was Castlevania 3. Played Castlevania last year, played through Castlevania 3 this year. I love this game. It was hard. When you beat this game, you are exhausted physically, emotionally, and mentally. This game will beat you up. It's standard Castlevania stuff. And what's crazy is that the Famicom version is easier in a lot of ways. I played through the first 4 levels of Castlevania 3, and I'm like, what is everybody talking? Because you just float through those first 4 levels. And I think I had some preconceived notions about this game. Like I always knew there were secondary characters, Grant, Sypha, and Alucard. But I thought like once you unlock them, like they were just on your team. I didn't realize you could only pick one or the other. So it kind of makes picking your companion person very important. I use Sypha. I don't know. It's just the path I went. I got Grant, got Sypha, did the whole thing, but I always ended up wanting to just keep Sypha. It is brutal. So typical Castlevania, right? We've all played these games. Like you get to Dracula, and you got that staircase you got to climb in Castlevania, and if you die or whatever, you get to continue right there. Not in Castlevania 3. If you die at Dracula in any one of the 3 phases, you go back to the level 9. If you have lives left, you go to the halfway point of level 9. If you run out of lives, you go all the way back to the beginning of level 9. You are going to learn level 9 so well that you are going to probably be able to play it blindfolded. Also in the Japanese version, the last form of Dracula is like this big, huge guy that just takes up the whole screen, and there's some platforms that move around, and he shoots like laser beams at you. Well, in the Japanese version, the laser beams are like this big. In the American version, they're like this big. So you really got to do like pixel perfect jumps or you are going to hit that laser beam and you're going to get hit, probably die. In the Japanese version, they're so small that you could just jump over them or duck or something. Not in the US version, which is crazy that it's like that. But I wish you could have kept all 3 characters and kind of cycled through them and used the ones that you needed. So I beat it. Got home from OTOA. No, before OTOA, before I went to the Tactical Officers Convention. Thursday night, finished it off. Friday, finished it. Popped it in Saturday. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it better. I'm going to have a better run. I think I did like 4 or 5 continues. And then I popped in Castlevania 1, played through that one. But then Sunday, before I left to go to my tactical trading, I popped it in, played through it again, like 3 or 4 continues. I wasn't getting any better. There are some sort of random not really random, but if you don't do it exactly right, you're going to take a hit. Yeah, it's crazy difficult, but it is so satisfying. And with unlimited continues, you can learn it. And there is a password system that you can use. So if you played for like 6 or 7 hours with all your continues or whatever, you're like, I got to go. You can come back, look up the password, and just pick up exactly where you left off. So right after I played Castlevania 3, my dumbass decided, hey, we're on this Mr. Matthews top 10 NES hard kick. Let's play through Battletoads. I can get to the 3rd level in that because when I was a kid, I could get to the Turbo Tunnel. So we're already out of 12. And this is how in my mind, I'm like 12 levels. I know I can get through 2 already. So we only have 10 levels left. And my mind, that's how my mind compartmentalizes these types of things, right? I've made it to the snake pit once before. That's halfway through. I can get to halfway through the game. But the back half of that game is a pain in the ass too. Battletoads, man. It is the toughest game that I've beaten to this date. When we beat Ghosts and Goblins. Ghosts and Goblins will be the toughest game that we beat. So, oh yeah. It's Battletoads, man. I love Battletoads. I love Battletoads when I was a kid. We rented it. And Savage, you don't have Castlevania Part 1? What's up, Rhea? What was the hardest level for me in Battletoads? So for me, it was Klinger Winger. And I couldn't figure out, like, it's obvious what you're supposed to do. Push in the direction that you want the bike to go, right? But unfortunately, the ball, the whirl ball, moves faster than you on the straightaways. So it's like you got to turn with such pinpoint accuracy. And I'm playing on my Dogbone controller, and I watched Megadan's speed run, and he unplugged his Dogbone controller to put in a regular controller. I got a bag of 12 Nintendo controllers. I'm like, you got to find a controller that's not too mushy, that's not too stiff. You got to find a controller that is just right. And you know how I beat that game? Beat that level? Using the arcade stick, the NES Advantage. Because you can literally, like, if you're holding the joystick, you can literally like just shift through the turns. I was like, whoa, this is like super easy. But from what it's my opinion that they knew that level was so difficult and that you needed a perfect controller to play perfectly on that level, because you have to play perfect on that level, that instead of toning down the difficulty or making that thing a little slower or giving you a little bit more leeway on the curves, what did they do? They added this pause trick. And I was like, that's not a thing. So, I'd played through Battletoads, and I was like, this is not a thing. So I popped in my Dogbone. I'm like, I get to Klinger Winger. I got a no death run going. I'm like, I'm going to do this pause trick, right? I'm going to do this pause trick. So I get through Klinger Winger using this stupid pause trick, and I'm like, is this cheating? I'm like, no, they put it in the game. Like, somebody had to put this in here for a reason. You know what I mean? So those sons of bitches put that trick in there just in case somebody didn't have a perfect controller to complete that challenge. But then I did the Klinger Winger, did that whole thing perfectly, get to the boss, die like 3 times. I'm like, I got a no death run going. Your heart gets starts. So yeah, we didn't no death run it. But Battletoads is surprisingly fair, because we can all get to the Turbo Tunnel and we all die, right? But on the first stage, on the first screen, you could warp to the Turbo Tunnel and practice. Just keep practicing, right? There are some warps that you can use to get ahead and practice those later levels. For me, I was consistently getting to stage 8, which is the Intruder Excluder, the tower, the vertical tower that you have to go up and then fight Robo Mantis at the top. So I was just like, I'll just warp to get past to save some time. Finally, it becomes so automatic. And then what's next? The Rat Race is next, right? Oh no, the Terror Tubes. Terror Tubes I thought was not that bad once you learn what the enemies do to you. So like the robots, you have to beat them. The ducks, you have to beat them a certain way. In the early part of the level, the fish and the sharks take 2 hits, but later in the level, they take 5. That kind of stuff is bullshit, and it's maddening in games. It's like ramping up the difficulty without letting someone know that you're ramping up the difficulty. then Rat Race. So I would warp to level 8 to practice the back half of that game. And actually, the first time that I beat Battletoads, I had warped to level 8, played through level 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, beat the Dark Queen. I'm like, okay, we beat Battletoads. Now let's do it without using the warps. And the next day I beat it without using the warps. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a 1cc of this. And I actually did a 1cc run of Battletoads. So wasn't going to do the no death run, man. That game is brutal for no death run. Ray is in the house. Savage says Battletoads Arcade is a good one. Yeah, I've heard that's a really cool game. I saw some gameplay of it, and it looks super cool. So Battletoads, and then the game I played with my daughter last week, Press Your Luck. We had game show night on the Wii, so we came up here, we played a bunch of game shows. If you've got kids, get it for like $1 or $2. That's all I'd pay for it. See it at a garage sale or whatever. But if you have kids, where you have people that come over and you guys do like game nights and play, these types of party games for fun, it's not bad. I gave it a C-, and I got it for $2. So yeah. So those are all 34 games that I have beat this year, and we are working on Ghost and Goblins right now. We are stuck on the 6th level. I'm confident that we will get past it though, because man, perseverance pays off. And that's actually perfect timing. I figured that would take about an hour, and we are at the 56-minute mark. So, really, Savage? I have that. It's on Rare Replay on the Xbox One. I actually have Rare Replay. I don't have an Xbox One. I knew I wanted to have that collection. Rhea says we need to debate this 5 to 10 new games rule you invented. Hey man, somebody in the chat called me the gatekeeper for this. I am not the gatekeeper. Everybody, you play games the way you want to play games. For me, after beating Battletoads, Castlevania 3, Ninja Gaiden 2, Kid Icarus, so don't come to me and say that you're a gamer because you played Press Your Luck on the Wii. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we could definitely talk about it. That's for sure. But I did want to get to, since I'm sort of having this overwhelming feeling to just play Nintendo games the rest of the year, just regular Nintendo games. The old NES, rediscovering my love, right, for the old gray box. What do you guys think is the best trilogy of games on the Nintendo? Mr. Matthews said Ninja Gaiden. Can't fault anybody there. We're gonna probably see a lot of Castlevanias, Marios, and Mega Man. I'd like 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. Like I would accept that. Some people may say Contra, even though Contra Force isn't great. The first 2 are so good, So what are some of your guys' favorite trilogies on the original Nintendo? So CL says the Ninja Gaiden trilogy for you. So that's 2 for Ninja Gaiden trilogy. It's okay, Rhea. Savage says Ninja Gaiden, man. I'm telling you, Ninja Gaiden is so dominant, and the music is so good. I mean, I could talk forever about Ninja Gaiden. So I want Ninja Gaiden 3 so bad, so I can complete I need Ninja Gaiden 3 to complete that collection, and I need Mega Man 5 to complete that collection. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great point. So Savage says Ninja Gaiden. However, 10-year-old Savage, little Freddy Savage, Mario 1, 2, and 3, which are all great games, right? There he is, Bubba Hamilton. Brett Hamilton, be hammy in the house. What's up, man? Says Mega Man, and I got to be honest. I like the Mario. I love Mega Man too much. Those other trilogies are great. I'm gonna say Mega Man 2, 3, and 4 are like right here, and then Ninja Gaiden's right there. You know what I mean? Like it's so close. But I'm gonna throw another scenario at you. When we say trilogy of games, we get it in our mind that it has to be from the same franchise. What about a trilogy of games that was released in like the same year? Kid Icarus, Metroid, Legend of Zelda, all released in 1986. 86, 87, whatever that was. All brand new action RPG style games, all three different. Wow. Like, what do you think of that as a trilogy of games? Mr. Matthews says, Bubba says Mega Man. Mr. Matthews, I like Mega Man and Castlevania more than Ninja Gaiden, but as a trilogy, Ninja Gaiden is more consistent. Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. But if you could only play that one trilogy, it would probably for you, it might be Mega Man. I don't know. You might switch it up here. But I do love some Ninja Gaiden. I don't know. Yeah, so what do you think about the trilogy of games, but not in the same series? But they all came out the same year. Like when they brought out Metroid, Kid Icarus, and Zelda, again, all three action RPG style games, but all three are distinctly different. The other thing I forgot to mention about Ninja Gaiden 2, and I don't know if they carried that through the franchise, but they changed up. So like in the first Ninja Gaiden, the blue icon gives you like 5 ammo, the orange gives you 10. And Ninja Gaiden 2, I think the blue gives you like 5, but the orange fills it up, and you can actually build that inventory. So if you start with 50, you collect these scrolls, it'll give you like 60. You collect another scroll, it'll give you 70. You know what I mean? So it'll allow you to hold more ammunition, which I thought was really good, really inventive for the game because it's optional. You know. Yeah, it is. That's the crazy thing about it, right? Like, because the first 2 Contra games are amazing. And, you know, Contra Force, which is a Contra game on the Nintendo, but it's not really even a Contra game, even though it's got the Contra name on it. And it does have slowdown, and it is kind of crappy, but it's not the worst thing ever. You know, it's not. Which is another game I got to finish. I'd like to finish that series, by the way, again. But then, but Mr. Matthews, too. I mean, Mega Man, Castlevania, Ninja Gaiden, yeah. Mario 1, 2, and 3. I mean, like, iconic games. One of those games saved the reason we're here is because of one of those games, you know, like, it gets kind of tough, right? Yeah, so Crazy Town. Ray says I'm gatekeeping. We all don't get the days off that I get. That's true. That's true. I'm very fortunate. Get 3 days off a week. But in that video, I kind of went off the rails a little bit because I wanted to talk more about Pat and his reaction and like how, because I think he thinks that he needs to be a gamer to be respected and loved, which is what he wants. He wants that admiration. And I just like flew off the handle a little bit because that's dumb. You know? And but you got to play games to be a gamer. You know what I mean? That's really the point. Yes, I mean Castlevania 2 is not as good as 1 and 3. It's not. It isn't as good. And if we were going to say like the Castlevania trilogy, I would probably take out Castlevania 2 and I would put in like a Castlevania 2 that was translated properly, like the game they wanted. like the game they should have had, not the game they gave us. You know what I mean? So like a proper translated version that, allows you to kind of know what is going on. I would say that's okay too. Or, Castlevania 2 that we got with, the map, the Nintendo Power Guide. Like I would be totally fine with that just because of the way that game is, right? It's a Mitch. What's up, Mitch? I'm gonna text you probably in a couple weeks, maybe next weekend. It's time to purge some games. So I don't know what you're collecting or what you're looking for, but I was gonna hit you up and get you stuff. Yeah, Mr. Matthews, listen, man. I don't. He is sort of a gatekeeper, right? Like he kind of. And I don't like. He said he played 10 Nintendo marathons. And that's great, like I said, for charity, but you're also just saying that you played those games out of obligation. Like, I don't walk a charity 5K and say I'm a runner. You know what I mean? Like, it just, Yeah, Mr. Matthews, I would say, man, for me, I do love Mega Man, and I'm going to go with 2, 3, and 4. Man. And the Ninja Gaiden trilogy is obviously amazing. I haven't played 3, but I can't wait to get my hands on it. I watched Trevor over at Top Loaded Gaming. He was trying to do a no death run, speed run thing, and he was just playing through it. This game looks incredible. So, yeah, it is crazy town. But I'm getting into, like I said, Nintendo a lot more, and I always love Nintendo, but kind of digging deeper into these libraries. Like after I played Ghosts and Goblins, I'm like, man, I got Platoon. I want to play some Platoon. Oh, one game I did forget on there. I don't know, maybe I skipped the whole page because I didn't even talk about it. Was Rescue Embassy Mission. How did I forget that game? Yeah, I beat it right after Stinger and before Adventure Island 2. Rescue the Embassy Mission on Nintendo. Very short game, but it's kind of like a tactical type game. It's like 4 levels. It's very easy. Doesn't take very long to beat. A lot of different settings, and you can set it to where like you're on the expert mode, and then there's a time limit of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. So you could beat it with all the time. But I just beat it on normal mode with the normal time. Secondhand Toy Dealer, what is up? Thanks for stopping by. I mean, Adam, I don't have anything crazy, commons. So if you got kids that you want to play games with, I probably have games you can play with the kids, I'm going to like my own stream. I'm giving my own stream a thumbs up because that's how I roll. So, yeah, so what games have you guys been playing? A lot of people have been playing the new Ninja Turtles game. Been watching that on live stream. Mr. Matthews says, too bad Rygar didn't come out in 1986. That would have been a good contender for your adventure trilogy. Yeah, Rygar. I played Rygar for like a couple minutes, and I really liked it, but I didn't get too involved in it. You know what I mean? Rabbit Dude wants me to sing for you. What would you like me to sing? You could be swinging on a star. Huh? How about that? A little swinging on a star? Huh? I could do like Step Brothers, like people are talking about people. love, love. And the acoustics are not proper, and I have a bit of a cold. Some Janet Jackson, dude. Let me tell you something about Janet Jackson. When the album Janet came out, she was still steamy back then. She was a little cricket, little dime piece. Gamer Gamer Squad. What's my favorite Sonic game? Well, I've only played Sonic 1 on the Genesis. I did not beat it. And Sonic Mania. Not a big Sonic guy, but I liked Sonic Mania. But I wish I could like look around more, like explore more. Because it's a pretty looking game, and there's a lot to like see and do. But with a timer and like bing bang boom ba 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 all over the place, you kind of miss a lot of stuff. You know, I like to kind of absorb it, take it in. So I'm going to say Sonic Mania on PS4. There's Gamer Squad's question. Savage says he's going to get the new Ninja Turtles beat 'em up and Pocky and Rocky. Actually, I think Rhea was playing the new Turtles game. There's a lot of people playing the new Ninja Turtles game. It looks fun. You like level up the turtles, and you can play like online mode, which is really, really cool. Oh, and they're going to remake Pocky and Rocky. That's awesome. Is that going to be a limited run venture, or is that they're going to put that out for? And Secondhand Toy Dealer is bad. you can laugh at how bad I sing. I'm a terrible singer, a sanger. Hey Mitch, new releases have been slow this year. One of the worst in history, in my opinion. Not much to buy right now, unfortunately. You know, man, that is like one weakness in my gamer chain, right? Is I don't stay up to date on all of the new stuff because I rarely buy new stuff when it comes out, so I don't get like super excited. But there are some good games at GameStop, man. Like you could get like Sonic Mania is cheap, Jedi Fallen Order is cheap, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout is cheap, although it's not a great game. It's a good $5 game. What else did we get? Goose Game was fun. That was fun to play with kids. I played that with my daughter. Really cool game. What else did I get? Oh, the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 at GameStop is like $20. Yeah, yeah, PS4 games are. There's a lot that are cheap that are good games. Like I always say, Titanfall 2. I don't like first-person shooter type games, but I loved Titanfall 2. It's a cheap game. It's like a $5 game, and it's only like 6 or 8 hours long. So you can sit down, you can play it in a day, play it over the course of like 2 nights, and be done with it. You know. Oh yeah, bro. During COVID, finding consoles was crazy. Like I was like, Wii's that I would pick up at garage sales for like $25-$30, $80 all day, and that was cheap because they were selling for like 100. Yeah, during COVID, you couldn't find consoles. It was crazy. Freddy Krueger, been playing Shredder's Revenge and Breath of the Wild for the second time. Breath of the Wild is a game that I do want to get on the Wii U. I just haven't seen it out there yet. Everybody likes it, Everybody, I don't remember hearing a bad thing about Breath of the Wild, but it is a game I want to get my hands on. Michi says he's been watching MC Mur's GameStop $5 videos and have followed some of his tips. Yeah, shout out to him. Mur's great, man. I love MC Mur. What do I think a Wii will bring these days? A Wii in good condition, first gen, where you can play backwards compatible GameCube with original hookups, original remote, and nunchuck, like the whole kit and caboodle. As long as it's all original. I'd say like $50, $60, somewhere in there. If you got games, probably a little more. Typically, because I've got stacks of like filler games. I'll sell my Wii's for the same console price, and then I'll just throw in a couple games just to entice a buyer. Rabbit Dude was featured on Tommy Oyamiko's video. That's good, man. It's good. It's good for exposure. Get some new people to your channel. Like this is all eBay inventory right here. Import CDs and NECA figures in there, I think. But yeah. And really now's a good time. We're kind of at the tail end of the good time to get some of those really rare or hard to find Wii games. I saw Klonoa, which, by the way, I don't like Klonoa. I think that series is overrated as hell. Klonoa is like up to like $80, $90, $100 for the Wii version, which I got at a thrift store for like $4. Wood. Yeah, but like on the Wii, another hard game to find is PDC Darts. Like I love darts. I played darts in Dart League, but nobody else in the plays darts or cares about that game. And that game's getting expensive. Castle Shikigami 3, which is an excellent shooter. It's a Shikigami no Shiro is what it's called in Japan, but it was the Shikigami series over here. Shikigami, Castle of Shikigami 2, Castle of Shikigami 3. Probably most notable, Mobile Light Force on the PS2 was the first Shikigami no Shiro game. RetroX says you have the PS1 Klonoa. Yeah, I think the Wii version is a remake of some sort of Phantom Mile. And I got to be honest, the music sucks. The gimmick gets tired after like the first 2 or 3 levels. Like I was playing it, and I'm like starting to fall asleep playing this game. And it's overrated, in my opinion. That's a great question. If I were going to buy a Wii, would I be hesitant to buy a Wii that had been hacked or had emulators put on the system? If I got that Wii from somebody that I knew, probably not. If I know that they know what they're doing, but I'd rather just buy a regular, like new condition Wii, backwards compatible with GameCube, all that stuff. If I'm going to do like an emulator, I would just get like a RetroPie or a Raspberry Pi and do it that way. Yeah, Mr. Matthews, I can't believe what some of these Wii games are going for. It's crazy. You know, Woodbury says he loves Dart. Yeah, I mean, I played in Dart Leagues for years, man. Played on the Columbus All-Star team for like 4 or 5 years. It was great. Love to compete, you know. It's probably why I like video games so much, is that there's a competition element to it, right? Like Ghost and Goblins is not going to beat me. I will beat Ghost and Goblins, you know. So RetroX said he bought it from a Woolworths bargain bin back in the day. What a fetch, my friend. Just pick up a, what's that game going for now? A couple $100? Just pick up a couple $100 out of the bargain bin. But there's a lot of games on the Wii that are like good games, but they're cheap and like nobody cares about them. Like Batman Brave and the Bold. It's a pretty common game. It's, you know, I think I got that one at GameStop for $5. You know, 4 scores and 7 beers ago. What is up, man? Good to see. I get these notifications that you're live streaming, but I'm always like tied up. It's like I always want to check in on him. Check in on CX. Had some good times back in the day, man. But yeah, the Wii, like, okay, so like Astro Boy on the Wii is really good. Batman Brave and the Bold. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune's a hidden gem on the Wii. I love that game. Yeah, crazy. Absolute crazy town. Well, Darts on Nintendo DS was fun. Yeah, was it the PDC Darts? Because that game is on the Wii, and the Wii version is like super expensive. What we all need to know is when Mr. Matthews is going to bring his next episode of NES Hard into our lives. Retro Hex says price charting has it at $530 for a copy of Phantom Mile. That's crazy town, man. That's crazy. It's time to get a VR. My son has a VR. I've played VR before. I like VR in short bursts. Like it's just not for me. You know what I mean? It's cool. Watching my son play Beat Saber in the Iron Man game was really fun. I started to play the Iron Man game. It's cool because like you're shooting the arm cannon thing. You're like you're doing all this cool stuff, using it to move the character. Mad World. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen that one out there a couple times. And is it Red Steel or Real Steel? I could have swore Real Steel was a movie with the Wolverine guy with Hugh Jackman. It was like a robot movie. Like a Real Steel or whatever. Yeah, for sure. Would that's what I do. I'll play one game until I finish it, and then I'll pop in another one. Because I know that if I popped in a game that I really liked and I put another 20, 30 hours into, I wouldn't go back to play the other one. You know what I mean? Red Steel. Red Steel starring Red Sonja. No, the VR doesn't make me dizzy, Rabbit Dude. It's just like, you stand there and you're doing all this stuff, and it's just kind of tiring after a while. And a lot of the games, the games that I have played are sort of simple. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to overload you with button inputs to get characters to move, or else you wouldn't be able to do anything. So, they're more point and clicky, I guess. First person ninja game. All right, Adam, take it easy. Tell everyone I said hi. Be safe out there. It's good seeing you. Yeah, stay safe. Computer Blue. You gotta. Okay. RetroHex says he picked up a PSVR at a Goodwill for $30 complete. We're no longer friends because I'm now jealous. I'm just kidding. Computer Blue, watch the video where Pat, the NES punk, got mad at Ian. Pat is a little crybaby. He's a shelf collector, and he was rude to Ian. He is rude to Ian. And you know what's weird is there are times when, like, Ian is 100% right, and then Pat snaps at him, and Ian, like, does that calculation in his head, like, I really just want to stay on the show, so I'll just agree with Pat. And I wish he wouldn't. I wish he would tell him to go fuck himself, like, once. You know what I mean? Because he'd be off the show for like a week and people would bitch and complain and Pat would have to have him back. You know what I mean? And for him to get that bent out of shape about being called a shelf collector really kind of tells you what's going on in his head. And he did the anger part, the bargaining part. Like he went through the grieving process, denial, bargaining, anger, acceptance, He's like, because even Ian was like, he even had to negotiate with him. He's like, well, I mean, you didn't shelf collect the NES, but everything else, your Sega CD, I didn't shelf collect the Turbo. And then he dropped his chin and his voice got real soft. Like, I still play Turbo. And like, yeah, you probably play like 2 Turbo games. You know what I mean? A year. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Computer Blue. But, listen, that's their relationship. Those guys are friends, and that's the type of relationship they have. Pat's the dominant. Pat's the top. Pat the NES top, and Ian the bottom, I guess. I don't know. But if somebody were like, Chris, you're just a shelf collector. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for your question. But for him to get that argumentative, and then the bargaining. I love the bargaining. I play games. I stream Super Mario World. What? I mean, I played Candy Crush on the shitter earlier. I'm a gamer. Look at me, I'm a gamer. You know what I mean? Retro Tiburon says Pat would always bring up he played 20 hours of Breath of the Wild when Ian would tell him he does not play any current games. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that, right? Like, But and like I said earlier, I don't know if you were here, but he's like, why 10 years of the NES Marathon? And that's great. It's great to do things for charity. But the way you said it is, you're doing it out of obligation. If it wasn't for the charity, you wouldn't have played those games. I'm not going to walk a charity through a 5K and then claim to be a runner, you know? And I got to be honest, when I do my list at the end of the year of the new adventures, the new games that I've beaten, I don't include the games that I've Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, 4, 5, 6, the Last of Us, games that I've already played dozens of times. I don't even include those on the list. That's not even included in my gameplay total. So if I were to count those every single year, add an extra 15 or 20 games. Mario 1, 2, and 3. Mega Man at least 2, 3, 4. This year I played 5 and 6. The Last of Us. It's crazy. If you only played something like StarCraft all year long, would you still? To me, not really. Unless you're. So I had this conversation with Bomberny TV. Love that channel. If you're getting if you're sponsored, if that's your job, right? You're not really a gamer anymore. You're like here's us gamers. You're getting paid and sponsored, and you're like a professional gamer. You're you're out of the bubble. You're on a whole different planet, right? You're in a different category. You would be an elite gamer. So if you were playing StarCraft all year long because you wanted to try and speed run it or something like that, you're playing professionally, then yeah, you're probably going to be you're still a gamer. You're just not in our little bubble, right? If that makes any sense. The thing was brought up in the comment section is that I'm gatekeeping, and that whoever said it was Mindy's Music, who thanks for stopping by the channel, said it feels like an arbitrary number, and it is. It should feel like an arbitrary number. It's a number that I just made up because I think that my wife plays Candy Crush and some farming game. That doesn't mean she's a gamer. She's not a gamer like we're gamers. She's like that casual gamer, and gamers need to actually play games, and that's where I sort of came up with the 5 to 12 or 5 to 10 new games a year. It's just my personal opinion. Once you get into I beat 2 games a month consistently. We've already beaten 33 games, and we're 6 months in, so we're beating an average of 5 games a month. New games, new adventures. And there's some duds in there, but if you're beating 2 or more games a month, you're getting into that hardcore gamer. Bomberny TV was like, well, you got to play an hour or 2 a day. And it's like, well, I don't have an hour or 2 a day. I don't play Monday through Thursday. I don't play hours worth of gameplay. But today, I started playing this game at 10 a.m. and I turned it off at 7:30. So I've put in more time in one day in this one game than what he would consider if somebody put in an hour a day for the week. Now, he had some other things, and those are all good points. And if that's his standard, that's his threshold, then that's his standard, his threshold. Mine is, play through 5 to 10 new games a year. And that's what I consider a gamer. Now, if somebody has a different opinion, that's totally fine. I'm not going to sit here and argue with people over their opinion. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But for me, if you care, and this is it's perception, right? Pat wants people to see him a certain way when he's not. If you want me to think that you're a gamer, if you care about that kind of stuff, then my standards are 5 to 10 new games. You say, Chris, I beat 12 games last year. Dude, that is fucking awesome. But most of you don't care. And you shouldn't care if I think you're a gamer or not, or a collector or not, or, something else. But I guess that's what I'm getting at. Certain people think that's important for them, for you to think of them as a certain way. You know what I mean? Wood says, what happened to the Game Chasers? Billy is still doing live streams. Yeah, I don't know, man. Listen, it is hard for them to do a show because it relies on them actually going out and finding games. And when you can't do that anymore, when COVID hits and everybody that gets to stay home all week is now a goddamn entrepreneur and an Amazon pallet buyer and a thrift store goer and a garage sailor, there's just less of that stuff out there. And I bet you, if I had to, and I don't know Billy and Jay, but if somebody were to ask them, like, did you guys go out all last year and only find like an episode? Like they went out and found like an episode or two's worth of material. And at that point, it's not worth the gas and the travel. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Wood. That's an interesting question. Computer, yes. That was the other thing that kind of got. That's when it started to get chippy. Is when Pat was like, "Well, if it wasn't for these games, then we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here, would you, Ian?" Like that's crazy town. Arioka. Yeah, it's an interesting discussion because it involves the community. It involves everybody, no matter where you're at. You're standing in the community. What type of content you make, what kind of content you watch, what type of games you play. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're in the gaming community and you don't even really like games. You just like gaming music or art, gaming art. You're in the community. You're not a gamer. You don't collect games, so you're not really a game collector. But you're in here with us. You know. Yeah, we wouldn't be on the internet right now if we weren't arguing about stupid stuff. Yeah, perfect. Perfectly executed there, Mr. Matthews. With the precision of Ryu on the Jackio boss. Arioka, I have a different interpretation for casual gamers. If you don't beat most of your games on the hardest mode and 100% complete them, you're casual in my book. Okay. Yeah. If that's your opinion, again, I think hard mode is for those harder core gamers. I mean, hardest mode, casual gamers aren't really going to play like that. And I'm more of a quantity guy, right? And you're sort of saying that you're a quality guy, and that's totally fine, right? If you only played 4 games, well, you don't meet my 5-game minimum standard. But those 4 games were 300-400 hour RPGs where you played through and you beat all the time things and you leveled up every character and you did all the side missions and it just took forever to play. Okay, yeah, we can totally make some exceptions for sure. Yeah, Mario, that great point. Does playing through a season of sports game count as beating a game? I would say yeah. If you played through Madden on the normal mode, you played through your season and won the Super Bowl, then I would say that would count as beating a game. In my master list under PS2, I've got like 20, I want to say like 26 or 27 seasons of NCAA college football 2005. I put that on there under PlayStation 2 games that I've beat. So yeah, sports games for sure. But I would say it's a season, though. You got to play the whole season. You got to play through the whole season, which ends with a title. That championship game is your final boss. How about that? Boom. Cacao. Woodbury says, what does that mean? Did you just cuss at me on the internet? Why do you have a motorcycle helmet on in that picture? You're like D-Day from Animal House. Boom. Yeah, so that was absolute crazy town. I was kind of late to the party on that. I wanted to get on that like right away. I want to see, how is that video doing? That video actually got a lot of views. And thank Bomber Knee TV for that. Like I always kind of wanted to do those quick like chit chat videos because they're kind of easy to make. Right? They're easily digestible content for you guys. You don't have to spend a lot of time. Right? It's not something that you're gonna have to listen to me talk for a half hour. But it's also something you don't have to watch either. Like you can just listen to it, you know. I think that video was actually doing pretty good. Ooh, it's got 750 views, and my vidIQ is saying it's getting 16 views per hour. So that's pretty good numbers for me. Yes, Retro Tigreon. Absolute Super Mega Baseball 2. Good. You got yourself a hat and a t-shirt. Arioka, I know it's unrelated, but I'm curious if you kept your Amico pre-order or did you get a refund? You know what? I canceled mine. Listen, I always said with the Amico that if they didn't deliver by the end of like February, March, that time frame, that I was going to cancel my pre-order, and they didn't deliver, and I canceled my pre-order. Now I did not look on. It's in like a side account where all my eBay money goes and all my extra money goes. So I actually didn't even look to see if that money went in there. But I did not get a email from Intellivision saying we have processed your refund and refunded, $100 to whatever the checking account was. So I did request a refund, but I don't know if I got it yet. And what a mess that whole thing is. I mean, we're not really here to talk about the Amico, but I liked the idea of the Amico. For me, I know the graphic thing came up, and it was like it's like a smartphone game. That's all right. I play games that are 8-bit. I play games that are high def, photorealistic type games. So, but whatever. As long as the game plays well, I thought it'd be cool to play with my kids who are, middle to older teenagers, and I've got one in the 20s. So it's sort of easy pick up and play type stuff. But that thing got crazy. Once they released their SEC reports, it's like the CEOs are making. Here's the thing about the Amico, about the SEC filing is, they're $10 million in debt. They've got a company that's willing to give them $17 million, so they can erase all their debt, have $7 million in the coffer, but somehow they still needed $5 million from the fans. That was really sort of the tipping point for me, where I was like, I don't know about this. And then Phil Adams, who is, in charge of, or was involved with the Coleco Chameleon debacle, which was obviously a scam, is now your CEO. It was crazy, man. So there were some glaring issues past E3 to about February, March. You know what I mean, Arioka? That's where they sort of really lost me as someone that wanted to be involved with the Amico in terms of purchasing, a console and some games and stuff like that. I was never going to invest in the Amico. Woodbury says Lasso is all skulls on the hardest way to beat Halo. Man. Albert says, my N64 collection upload is getting MJR numbers, 104,000 views. That might be my most viewed video. And then N64 is gotten really popular. I actually made an update video that didn't get those numbers. So, maybe MC Murr can explain this when he's on here next time. But that old N64 collection video it got 100,000 views. But the new N64 video isn't getting those types of views. So I don't know if I should delete the old one or what. So whatever MC Murr would suggest there would be great. Yeah, don't super chat at all. It's for algorithm nonsense. Mr. Matthews says he should do his own N64 video, show off my massive 20 game collection. You know what? Listen, I'm telling you, I wouldn't not do it, because I was thinking about doing a TurboGrafx 16 collection. And you're like, holy shit, I'd love to see CM's TurboGrafx 16 collection. it's like 15 games. You know what I mean? So it's easy to make that video, and it's sort of evergreen. Like you throw it up there, and people look N64 collection video, and they see your video, and they see your video is only like 15 minutes long. They're gonna click on it. How many consoles do I? PS4 right now. PS4. I got a PS4, a PS2. My Sharp NES TV is over there, and then I've got Genesis at games because you can put the cartridges in it, and it's like this big. It like saves up so much space. And I just put my Super Nintendo away earlier today. So generally, I've got 2 consoles plugged into the main TV, and then my Sharp NES TV sits right over here. So I can watch Netflix, and I can rage quit Ghosts and Goblins at the same time. Mr. Matthews, I'm telling you, why not? Why the hell not? It's YouTube. We're small time channels. You know, everybody that watches your channel is going to watch it. You know, maybe do Mr. Matthews top 20 any Nintendo 64 games in my collection, and then be like, yeah, I only have 20 games in my N64 collection, so all my games make the top 10. Hooray! Starting off at number 20, Madden 2001. You know what I mean? RetroHack. Actually, I don't know if I have 20. I got 15 TurboGrafx games, and I traded. Like some of you guys that are like new to this channel don't know. RetroHack and I go way back, and during one of our trade shows, I traded RetroHack a TurboGrafx with I think like a sports game and maybe like was it Alpha Zones? I don't know. I traded in my TurboGrafx 16. Okay. For some limited run games on PS4. I wasn't unhappy about the trade. I don't regret the trade, anything like that. But I was always like, because I'm happy with my PS4 stuff, and I definitely like the limited run stuff too. But I was like, man, I can't believe I missed that TurboGrafx 16 so bad, and I never played the damn thing. That TurboGrafx 16 that I traded RetroHack, other than plugging it in to test it, I maybe played it twice. And I had it for 2 years before I traded it to him. So I was like, so I wanted one back. So I finally found a big, huge bulk deal. The guy wanted like $220 for everything. I had a Super Nintendo RPGs, all different kinds of stuff in there that I could resell that stuff, made my money back, got to keep this TurboGrafx 16 with the games. And it is crazy. I can go get the games if you guys want me to do like an impromptu TurboGrafx 16 collection. It's just right upstairs. And it's in a box, and it's only a stack that big, so I can go grab it. But Albert is asking, if you were to delete the initial N64 collection upload, would it affect your total watch time and views? Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. My initial reaction would be yes. Especially if that video is getting a couple hundred views a month. Let's say if it's getting 100 views a month, that's 1,200 views a year that you wouldn't be getting. But at the same time, you do want to push the newer video because it's actually a better video. About Trey Fede, you think you'll ever get a PS5 or Xbox Series X in the future? Well, I am a PlayStation guy. So I would definitely get a PlayStation 5. Now, there's still a little hit or miss in my area whether you're going to find them or not. Obviously, you could pay the scalper price, the reseller price on the Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, that kind of stuff. But generally, my rule of thumb is like I got so many games now that I kind of play them, and if I find a PS5 out in the wild for cheap, or I get a good deal on it or something, get some trade credit at GameStop built up and get one, then that's the way I'll get it. That's how I got my PS4. I won't go out and buy consoles new. It's just not something that I don't generally do. But yeah, PS5 is really where I would go, or Switch, because I do love Nintendo, and I've got like all the PlayStation consoles, all the regular consoles, and I've got all of the Nintendo consoles. Even the Virtual Boy, all the way up to the Switch. My sons have Switches, so we have one in the house, I guess, but I would need a Switch and a PS5 to maintain that one console from every generation. But Arioka says about 70 complete and box Nintendo 64 games. And I legitimately like all of them. No fillers in my or BS in the collection. Albert says N64 CIB salute. Yeah, see, they complete and box stuff does look amazing on the shelf, for sure. I love my Nintendo stuff, that's for sure. Retro Gaming Hero, hey CM, I just got a Game Boy with a lot of Game Boy games, and I even fixed my Pokemon Gold save battery as well. Awesome, man. Is like Game Boy like your thing? I love your avatar, by the way. We were just talking about Kingdom Hearts earlier. Do you collect Game Boy? Did you just finally get a Game Boy? You're getting into it. Mr. Matthews is a Game Boy guy. He loves his Game Boy, so look for him to some recommendations. But, Tetris, the Mario games, Batman, those are the games that I love on the Game Boy. Savage has a huge collection of TurboGrafx 16 games. He has all 3 of them. Yeah, Retro. I thought about doing that too. Bought a Turbo EverDrive for your TurboGrafx 16 because you'll never be able to buy those expensive games. And that's, bro. Listen, man. Yeah, house payment, wife, kids, stuff to do, right? You can't be spending $3,000 on one TurboGrafx 16 game. You know what I mean? And I thought about getting an EverDrive, but then I'm like, I don't play the TurboGrafx that I have now. Why would I get an EverDrive, load it with games, and then never play it? For sure. Albert is asking, what is your favorite N64 game? And he's talking to Arioka. Listen, like I said earlier, man, I love my N64. I love N64 is just so nostalgic for me, and it's fun to collect for. With all the different color controllers and the games, and there's some variants of some games, right? Like The World Is Not Enough, the James Bond game. There's a blue cart and there's a gray cart. Sarge's Heroes, there's a green cart and a gray cart. It's just kind of fun. It's a quirky, fun little system, right? But I would say my favorite N64 game is Star Fox. And depending on which day, Mario Kart 64 or Mario 64. I do enjoy Star Soldier Vanishing Earth, which is the only true top-down shooter, I guess you would call them. Yeah, the wrestling games are great. Savage, NWO, WCW World Tour. That was my go-to wrestling game. Like, everybody seems to have the one that they like the most. Retro Gaming Hero. There are a lot of original Game Boy games that I like. Well, and I had my eye on some, including Mega Man Game Boy series. Did you watch Mr. Matthews' Game Boy game reviews on the Mega Man games? He is a Mega Man aficionado, man. He's awesome. Gaming Hero says he does collect Game Boy and he loves doing so. I do too. I love getting my hands on Game Boy games when they're in lots. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out and buy Amazing Tater, but some cool games that I have found at garage sales. Mole Mania, that game has gotten stupid expensive. And actually, RetroHack, I think I traded RetroHack a little Game Boy carrying case that looked like a Game Boy. You open it up. The lady that I got that from at the garage sale, there was a Game Boy in there, Mole Mania. There's some common titles, that Kirby 2, and she wanted $20 for everything. I'm like, there you go. Because at that time, those Game Boys were selling for $70. So, but I kept the games I didn't have, and one of those games was Mole Mania. And I can't believe how expensive that game is. Where's my phone? It's easier to look up on my phone. Mole Mania. Yeah, it's like a $60 game. And some people are asking $85, $75. I'm like, it's a Game Boy game, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? And we got overtime on Monday. Hell yeah. We work 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's 4 hours of OT. It's about $200. Mr. Matthews says, Mr. Matthews' loose cart looks like $60 to $85 on eBay. So I'd say in that $70 range. And it's crazy how those game prices just absolutely shot up there. And the Game Boy, Gaming Hero, Game Boy, man, Game Boys are not only a great console, and I love that you can play those games other ways other than on a Game Boy, right? You can play them on Super Nintendo, you can play them on GameCube, but very underrated sound chip for the Game Boy. The sound is always like on point. Arioka's going to answer. He says 1080 snowboarding, Beetle Adventure Racing, Blast Corps, Cruising. Cruising. Classic. I do love arcade racers. Banjo Kazooie, both Castlevanias, Doom 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and the Goemon games. Yes, Mystical Ninja. No one talks about Mystical Ninja at all. Now, I don't have Goemon's Great Adventure, and I want it. It's like my number one most wanted Nintendo 64 game. But Goemon's Great Adventure and Mystical Ninja are two different style games. So Mystical Ninja is it's like Zelda, right? It's like open world exploratory type game. And Goemon's Great Adventure is more like 2.5D platformer type stuff, right? So those are great games. And we didn't get a lot of Goemon games here in the United States. We got Mystical Ninja on Super. Maybe we get a Game Boy game or a Game Boy Advance game. But that's all I can think of is the Super Nintendo and the 2 N64 games. Hey, Chris, did you check out Obi-Wan on Disney? Yes. As a Star Wars fan, I love that they're bringing out all of this new live action stuff, all this new stuff to put in the canon that connects these stories. I don't like some of the things that they do, but I love the idea that they're bringing these out. I thought Obi-Wan was really good. It was really good. Yeah, I could have sworn, Mr. Matthews, that there was a Goemon game on the Game Boy. It might have been Japanese only, though. I don't remember. Oh, now he's just showing off. F-Zero, Extreme G1 and 2 are pretty good. GoldenEye 007, Killer Instinct Gold, Jet Force Gemini, Mischief Makers, NBA Hang Time, Perfect Dark, San Francisco Rush Ridge Racer. Yeah, this is a ton. Again, another underrated N64 game is N60 as Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. That's underrated. People don't talk about Star Soldier Vanishing Earth enough. Yeah, there's just a lot of great games. And it's funny you talk about, in your list, you have a lot of, Rareware games. So one of the games that I beat this year for the very first time, always loved it as a kid, was Battletoads, and it was by Rare. And Rare, it's such an interesting story, because after I beat these games, then I start looking up, the history and these reviews and these retrospectives, so I can add to my notes and sound smarter at the end of the year, but I'm really learning about something that I was just passionate about. But Rare had all these diverse games in their libraries that they didn't have a beat 'em up, so they wanted to do Ninja Turtle, gross out humor, and they came up with Battletoads and they made it super hard. But it was with the Battletoads money that they were able to buy that Silicon Graphics maker thing, and that's how they did Donkey Kong Country. So if it wasn't for Battletoads, we probably wouldn't have Donkey Kong Country and Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. And we definitely wouldn't have all those great N64 Rareware games. And Rareware was so hot at one point that Nintendo bought 48 or 49% of the company. And that's how they became, second or third party developers there, which was crazy. Yeah, Hybrid Heaven. And Hybrid Heaven has a really interesting combat style where it's a one-on-one fighting game. It reminds me of those Culture Brain games on the Nintendo, which is cool. The Bomberman games on N64 aren't bad. I haven't put a lot of time into them, but they're okay. Conkers, I might put Conkers as my favorite N64 game on any given day, because I love that game too. It's a great game. It's one of the first N64 games I played. Yeah, Arioka, you can keep going, man. Because there are so many good games on Nintendo 64, underrated games. Mischief Makers, although it's not my style of game, I definitely respect games like Glover and Rocket Robot on Wheels, Sucker Punch game. So it looks good, plays good. Hybrid Heaven was a Konami game. Yep. And it was about that time they had NBA Showtime as well. Konami had the rights to NBA Showtime. I've never really played a Worms game. I've never played it, but looking at it, it's like I don't know if that game's really for me. But I will try it sometime. I think Brett had a copy of it. I might have it somewhere. Is there one for 360? It's like a 2-pack. It's like a dual game thing. But yeah, man, love the N64. It's totally cool. I mean, do you guys want me to? I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about. So unless you guys got something to talk about, I can run and get those TurboGrafx games. Give us something to talk about for another 10 minutes. Why don't I go do that? I'll be right back. All right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of those is empty, so it's 9. 11. I have 11 TurboGrafx 16 games. And I want to be real honest. I want to make this very clear. I'm very lucky and very blessed to have these because you don't find TurboGrafx 16 games out there at all anymore. And when I found these in a bulk lot on Marketplace, it was weird too because the guy wanted like 180 bucks for it or something. And I was at the car dealership on this side of town, and this guy lived, of course, on this side of town. And I was getting an oil change. It was going to take like an hour and a half. And you guys know how it is. Like you get real antsy when stuff's like, I gotta go. I want to go get this. I gotta go pick it up. I gotta go get it. I gotta get this because somebody else is going to snipe it. And I said, how much you want for it? He goes, some guy offered me, $100, and I think that's good. Like, dude, how about like 150? And then that dude was like, I'll give you 160. I said, how about 180? And he said, you're really going to give me 180 bucks? I said, dude, if you hold it for me for a couple hours, I'm getting my oil change in my car, I'll give you 200. And he was like, okay, sold. And then I always pulled here's a link to my YouTube channel. I collect these things. I love old games and stuff like that. He said, well, I might have some more manuals. And so if you find the manuals and stuff, I'll give you an extra like 20 bucks. So I go over there. And of course, when I leave the car dealership, that's when it starts snowing and sleeting and getting real nasty out there. But picked up a huge lot of TurboGrafx games. So here we go. First one, I got some pretty good ones. Stuff I would trade if somebody had a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3 that they wanted to trade. Double Dungeon. So again, I really don't know anything about those. And just to show you guys. So these loose cue cards, I bought this at the dollar store. It's just a little index card holder, but you can put them in this way if you wanted to, or lay them flat. So just a storage idea. Next game, I actually got this at the Heath Flea Market, Aero Blasters. I think it was like $50 or $60 or something, but it's a shooter on the TurboGrafx, so I knew it wasn't going to be $50 forever. You know what I mean? So boom, those are my 2 loose games. I keep them in my index card. Oh yeah, this is actually this wasn't a bad deal. So I got this at Brian's Video Trader, not Video Trader, maybe Video Trader. But when he has games that are $27.99, if you pay in cash, they're half off. Like it's just stuff that he wants to move. So this was $27.99, and we got it for half off. So for $14, we got Sidearms. So that's pretty cool. That's a good deal. And then I think he actually gave this to me for $5. Victory Run. Which you guys know I love racing games. A game I do want to play, Ninja Spirit. Game actually looks pretty cool. We have TV Sports Football. Huck it, chug it, football. Military Madness. Which I don't know, is that a shooter game or is that like a strategy game? I don't know. I've never played it. Bonk's Adventure. Classic. That is the first TurboGrafx 16 game I ever played. I remember this kid that lives in our neighborhood. His name was Mike Burns. His parents, he was an only child. So, of course, he got everything. He had TurboGrafx 16, and we played this and Splatterhouse. I remember playing Bonk and Splatterhouse. And I loved it because, you know, at the time, TurboGrafx 16, right, it's this brand new, beautiful thing. We'll save that for... Okay, so this is pretty common. We got Keith Courage in the Alpha Zones packing game. I have this empty case for Bonk's Revenge. So if anybody has Bonk's Revenge, or you need that, and you have a copy of Ninja Gaiden 3, and we can work out a trade for that and something else. We have, we had Double Dungeons. Now we've got Dungeon Explorer. So that's cool. And probably the most expensive game. Ninja Spirit is getting up there, but Neotopia. It's got a crack in the case, but, you know, you can replace those. Neotopia. What I don't like about these is these jewel cases don't have any artwork or anything on the back because they came in these cardboard sleeves. So, yeah. That is my entire TurboGrafx 16 collection. Chase HQ is dope on TurboGrafx 16. RetroHex says he has 8 TurboGrafx 16 games. That's cool. Dude, that is a good collection. Like if you're a casual TurboGrafx collector, you don't collect, like, you don't go to conventions looking to spend a couple $100 just on that's a good collection, man. Erica says Double Dungeon is a great game for TurboGrafx 16. Surf Blue says sometime you'll have to stream those. Yeah, say about hooking up my RetroPie because I'm sure those are all on the RetroPie. I'll have to check out Chase HQ because I do like racing games. Let me see how much that game is going for. These TurboGrafx 16 games, I'll tell you what, crazy expensive. All right, Chase HQ NEC TurboGrafx 16, brand new sealed, $991.91 with free shipping. So you got to factor that in too, right? Free shipping. Watch, that idiot would probably put that in an envelope and put like 5 stamps on it and send it through regular mail. Okay, so just the Hue card, $135, which seems expensive. And $135 is a lot of money, at least to me anyway. But when you're talking about TurboGrafx 16 games, it's actually kind of reasonable, you know, if you collect TurboGrafx, because they're all expensive. They're all expensive. Because I thought this Ninja Spirit was pretty common, but that has nothing to do with it on the TurboGrafx. There's one for $180. There's one for 80 cents. That game's kind of like all over the place too. Got a lot of craziness. Second hit toy dealer is asking, are there any updates on the Amico? The Amico is about to be dead. They are, yeah. I was really, really rooting for the Amico. I like the idea of the Amico, but it doesn't look like it. They're making it sound. Again, I have no proof, so I want to be very careful legally what I say, so I'm not in trouble for slander or liable. But from what I understand, they may have used the money for pre-orders that they said that they were going to take, put in escrow, and not touch. And if you wanted your refund, then you would get your refund. It appears, according to some sources, that they have spent some of that money and are unable to give pre-order dollars back. If that's the case, then they're gonna be in big trouble. Plus, they've been screwing around with. I mean, you guys had 2 years of pandemic where supply chain, we can't get this part, we can't get that, we can't get that. But at some point, you instead of doing 30 or 40 games, you should have 12 games done. You should have been working on 12 games to have those done. And the reason that I think that those games aren't done, or the front end or the back end or the website, all those, because they knew that they were never going to get it done. So why waste the time, money, and effort? Which is sad, because I think it had the potential to be a pretty cool console. Not like a gangbusters, right? We're not doing PS4 Switch numbers, but I think you could get it into enough church groups, mothers groups, elementary schools, dentist office. I think you could get it into enough spaces to make it a viable product. And if I would have had the money, like if I had the money to buy that company, I may have and tried to do something with it. But when you're $10 million in debt and a company's offering you $17 million and you're still asking your audience for $5 more million, that's a little weird that you have the opportunity to pay off your debt, have $7 or $8 million in the coffer, and you still need more money. That was just bizarre. So if I'm reading that situation correctly, no amount of money would have been enough to get them out of the trouble that they were in. Now, do I think they went into this, Albert? Do I think they went into this thinking that they were just going to scam people? Like, for it to be a scam, you have to be able to prove that there was an intent from the beginning through threat, force, stealth, or deception that they were trying to scam somebody. I don't think it was like that in the beginning, but I think they got to a tipping point. And as much as, again, I don't have any issues with Tommy, but I think it was a leadership issue and a purse strings issue. Somebody should have been controlling the purse strings and telling all the board members and telling Tommy, no, we're not buying that. Sorry, we're not buying a tumbler for $30,000 to test the controller. What we can do is we can spend $8. We can ship it to a company that has it. We can test it there, pay the $200 or $300, have it shipped back, and congratulations, we just saved a bunch of money. I don't think they had anybody like that. Tommy likes to tell people yes, you know what I mean? Like he's a people pleaser. So if somebody wanted a raise or somebody needed time off, I'm sure he just gave it to them. I don't know that for sure. Again, I'm just saying what I see, what my eyeballs have seen. And if they would have had some type of stronger leadership there, right? Leadership, as I define it, the art of influencing men in such a way as to obtain their utmost loyalty in accomplishing the mission. That leader needs to control those employees and make sure they're staying on point for the mission. Who's in charge of creating the back end? It's John Smith. When is this going to be done? Oh, I don't know. Well, you don't know. Well, I don't know if you're going to have a job by the end of next month. Tomorrow, you need to tell me when this is going to be finished. Right? They need somebody in there like that. They don't have time to play games. They want to be. There were no leaders. Everybody was everybody's buddy. And then they got them into the fuck it situation where we can't go back. We can't progress. So let's just ride this out. And it's weird. So Secondhand toy dealer, to answer your question in a very long, drawn-out way, the Amico update is that Amico isn't going to be around much longer. If I'm reading things correctly, if I'm seeing and reading and hearing what I'm hearing, and Albert's laughing. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you spent all this money on a machine to test the durability of your tumbler. You already dropped it off a ladder. You already tested, like, 6-foot ladder, boom, there it is, boom, no cracks, scuff, dings, dents. I get it. And I understand that the FCC is going to have to have a certain rating and all that stuff, but there are other ways to test that without spending money on a machine that you're going to use just for the testing of the one controller, right? Like, that's true too. That's true too. And now, they were like, exclusivity, you can only get this on the Intellivision Amico. And even if it was only like adding, another character or another level to a game, I guess technically by the strictest letter of the law that would be an exclusive, because it's different than what you could get on, Switch, like Rigid Force Redux, was a little bit different, added level or something. And that's fine. But when you say buy this console for these exclusive games, and now we're in a situation where they're going to license those games out, the games that they've got done, it's like you make all these points, right? And then, like, if you're making a video, like, they said we're going to have exclusive games, and then you cut to the Maury Povich clip. The lie detector test determined that was a lie, right? They said they were going to give you your pre-order money back. The lie detector determined that was a lie, right? You insert that little clip there, So I don't know. Like I said, I was kind of rooting for them because it's something different, but we're going to have physical content. I guarantee we're going to have physical content. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. Yeah, Arioka, that's an interesting point. And what I kind of heard, because they did release an Intellivision like a flashback console years ago. And I don't know what games are on there. I don't know how many games are on there. I don't know how it plays. But if they would have done something like that, if they would have released something like that with the new games on it, like finish the new games, put it all on one console, sell it retail for $50 or $60, okay, throw in a poster or laminate or something, people would have probably bought that. But also have a cartridge slot on that Mini to where you could play original Intellivision games if you wanted to. I thought that would be a badass way to get Intellivision out there to set up for the Amico, and then have those games that were attached to the flashback console preloaded into the Amico, and that way you're buying a new console, but you're also getting those games as well. $250 for an Amico is way too much for what it is and what you're going to do with it. And when they started getting that thing up into the 300s, it's a no-go. Because why would you ever buy an Amico at $300+ when you can get a Switch for $300? Nintendo has essentially the same games, whether it's Rigid Force Redux or any of the other games that are on the Switch that are on the Amico. But you would also get all those great Mario games, all those first-party, second, and third-party Nintendo games, right? So it's just at $300+, and at $250, the Switch is almost a better buy, right? You're getting more bang for your buck. Yeah, that's another one right there. You said you would never crowdfund. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. Ghost, can I take off my pants? Yeah, bro. Here we go. There we go. Easy peasy. I got shorts on, though. Basketball shorts. Scammer Rico broke the lie detector. Listen, I'm too nice sometimes. I don't think he intended it that be the way, but he gets so excited and so animated, and he gives out all this information that he probably shouldn't give out. Like, I guarantee physical media, and you can't really do that. You know what I mean? Dad 6'3" says hey, and then hey, and then hey, hey. Yeah, crazy town. Let's see. Okay, cool. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna grab this link real quick, right fast. From previous streams, you know what? Honestly, I don't. A foot bath with an empty slot. That's nasty. All right, guys, we are going to shut down the stream. We've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I got Ghosts and Goblins to get back to. But Rhea is live streaming the Capcom fighting game collection on her channel, and that's where I'm going to be. So I will see you guys over there. We can go over there and say hi and watch Rhea play some fighting games on the new Capcom thing. Anyway, thank you guys so much. It's always fun to do these hangouts and answer your questions and see what everybody's into. Mr. Matthews better get his ass working on that NES Hard video, which needs to be out by, it's 10:21 p.m. It needs to be like 2 hours. You got 2 hours, buddy, to get that shit out. And was I ever approached it? Okay, here we go. We're going to be here forever. Sorry, Dad. He said, please stream longer. He just got here. I know. I apologize. I had Tommy on my channel once. We didn't really talk about the Amico, and it was real early because I know Smash pretty well. And through that connection, I had Tommy on the stream. I actually lost a friend over at Jason Vortex, Jason Vectrex, not Vortex, Vectrex. Thought I was selling out and like clout chasing, but I really wanted to have Tommy on and talk to Jeff and Tommy, just kind of get to know him, like where he's from and, you know, what his vision is, what his goals are, that kind of stuff. And, you know, we really didn't talk about the Amico a lot, but it was at that point where I was like, you know, I got an extra $5 or $6 grand I could throw into this thing and I never did. And it's because I didn't really get a good vibe from Tommy. Not that I don't like him as a person, but just I didn't see this. I thought this was going to get released, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. You know what I mean? Like there's a real wide gap in there. No, I'm not going to point my camera down with my pants off. Anyway, are there like 8 people watching Rhea play fighting games? All right, I'm going to post the link again. All right, guys, I am out of here. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys so much for stopping by.